Welcome aboard the Millennial Falcon. We are parked in the hangar bay today for routine maintenance. Join us for a game of Dejarik, sit back, or just to hang out. Make sure to subscribe to the show. And if you want to get an audio only version, for those of you who like to listen while you drive to work and whatnot, make sure to become a Patreon at patreon.com/Star Lores. And for $3 a month, which was like the price of a coffee 4 years ago, maybe. You can become a patron. So I think it's a pretty good deal. But that's just me. Anyways, so it's me, Jordan, your lovely host, lovelier than a Twi'lek dancer, and then I also have with me Frankie. How's it going?
Hey, doing good.
And Christian, the Dark Lord of the Sith.
And Millennial Falcon co-pilot, co-host. Cuter than a Wookiee.
And of course, we got a special guest today, the Star Wars Don Draper himself, TJ. How's it going, my man?
Hello, everyone.
He's a recurring guest, a return to the Sarlacc pit.
TJ, go ahead.
I like to feel like I'm here to give the viewer perspective of things.
Good.
The audience feedback.
Yeah.
You can also be our diversity ship computer.
Oh, I could be L3. All right, let's go. Rebellion.
All right, so we're just talking about, how we do these. It's a little more laid back, just talking about what's going on in the Star Wars universe. More kind of news and current events. But Frankie, why don't you bring us into our first headline here? What's going on?
Yeah. So just wanted to get everybody's kind of take on Andor season 2. As everybody's aware, it's out. From the viewership numbers, it started out pretty rough. I know there was a lot of questions around whether or not the show was just going to be more of the same, bad quality. Started out with a huge dip in their viewership of about 400 million minutes watched. However, and that was because they did kind of the same drop as they normally do with the first 3 episodes. And then, however, this last week, the viewership increased to 700 million minutes watched. So it almost doubled in the drop of the last episode. It kind of creeped up on everybody, quietly kind of climbed the charts and ended up on the number 2 spot for the week of shows watched. So I was just kind of curious. So for complete honesty here, I have not seen any of it yet. I am saving it. I have another baby coming in July, so I'm hoping for some late night night shift baby duty binging. That's right, yeah. So I'm just curious to hear you guys' take. Have any of you guys seen it? What's your guys' take?
I haven't seen it yet either.
I'm waiting for a good time where I can binge it as well.
Yeah, I'm in very much the same boat. I haven't watched it yet, it's funny because it does speak to something else that goes on with that show. For season 1 anyways, there was a lot of talk about how great of a show it was relative to other Disney products, yet the viewership was still pretty low. I know people have different reasons for that. Some people think just people were burned out on all the other Star Wars projects that didn't do well, that they just ignored this one. So it could be a holdover from that. In my case, I'm just waiting to watch the first season for review episodes for the podcast here. So
wait, you haven't even seen the first season?
I watched the first episode. However,
I have very good. It's very good. Yeah, it's probably. So I was actually hyped for season 2 because I saw season 1 and absolutely loved it. Like, I thought it was Rogue One level good. Probably the best content they've put out in a couple of years. So I was hyped for it. And I just think it's kind of interesting and kind of cool how over the last, it's weird how it started off kind of in a rough lull and the viewership dropping, but then out of nowhere it just kind of explodes. So
Yeah. Is this viewership too though, like relative to other Disney, or is it relative to other streaming platforms? Like
So that was across all streaming platforms. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Well,
interesting.
it's only on one streaming platform though.
Right, but if
Right,
you're
right. But
comparing
it's
viewership
an
numbers,
aggregate of like shows across all streaming platforms. I think maybe
Okay.
you're right. Maybe it was on just Disney.
Yeah, I don't.
Let me check real quick. I'll check right now.
Some streamers don't even disclose
their numbers.
their numbers for what's getting watched or not. I've heard rumors that like on Amazon Prime, like The Chosen is by far their most successful show, which is funny.
No way.
Yeah, which is why they're putting so much money in a bunch of new Christian shows, like biblical based dramas and whatnot. And like I think there's an animated show coming out too. But they're putting a lot of money in that because like something like The Chosen. Okay, this is a business model that Disney should adopt. Chosen is so cheap to make. It is so cheap to make. And if you even watch some of the episodes, it is like one of my biggest criticisms of Chosen actually is just the sets. Because I know it's filmed in Texas and I've been to Texas quite a bit and it looks like Texas to me. It does not look like Israel.
It doesn't look like
Indian. I get totally pulled out of the show completely because I'm just like, man, this is but
Jesus' tomb is just in some dude's gun range.
Yeah, just the disciples are, smoking barbecue and
wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah. But if you want to make like a really cheap show, I would imagine even if they went to like a better location that was a little more expensive, they could still just make an absolute killing on that show because they get such high viewership on it with such little overhead and all those actors. Because I was curious because we had been talking about like how much some of these Star Wars shows cost. So I went to look up like what's a cheaply made show. And the actors on The Chosen are like some of the lowest paid like primetime actors. So it is just like
going on with this.
It's a non-profit.
Yeah.
Non-profit acting studio.
Yeah. You get kids out of
funny.
college that can do internships with you for free.
Yeah. Now I don't know how you do that with Star Wars. It like makes set designs and whatnot that cheaply, but it's a business model.
You could figure out a middle ground, I'm sure.
Yeah. So funny enough, yeah, it was across all platforms. I just checked.
Okay.
Yeah, it was number 2 across all platforms for last week.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
It's gaining mainstream momentum. Then it sounds like.
I will say, much like season 1, and this is my very unscientific look at like the fandom and a lot of the reaction. It is getting a lot of good hype. So it could be that it's just getting like word of mouth advertising, right? So like people are slowly piling into it now that a few episodes are out. And that might just be an effect of streaming in general. Like sometimes people don't want to wait every single week for a new episode. They just wait till the whole season's out.
Or like there's a bunch of it and binge it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys watch the first season?
I haven't finished the first season, but I have.
Oh man, it's so good.
It is good. It's very good. I won't deny it.
The thing that I feel like they nailed about just in Andor overall was it feels like Star Wars. It feels like a different story in the same universe. And that's what I feel like the issue has been with so many of like Kenobi, Boba Fett, like those shows didn't feel like a Star Wars show, even though it had the, even more like known characters even.
It is weird. I will say that like in new Disney Star Wars stuff, it seems like when they make their own original characters, with a couple of exceptions like the Acolyte and whatnot, that they seem to do a little better than trying to like bring back an older character, which they seem to butcher all the old characters. But like when they bring in some new characters that are kind of like a blank slate and they can just make something new, it's not so bad. It's a little, and just sort of use the universe. I'm just gonna share this comment in the comment section from Praxis. He says season 1 was good. I watched the first 2 episodes of season 2. I may have drank too much binging at the end of season 1. I don't IDR. Okay. So yeah, there's just more there for you. Like, people do enjoy it. It does seem to be like Disney's one bright spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the problem with the shows like Kenobi and Boba Fett, those characters were already pretty well fleshed out in previous material that we've gotten for Star Wars, so they didn't have to expend as much time into giving us, any extra for those characters. So the stories came out kind of bland. With Andor, we're getting a story based on a character that didn't have much like description for him in the movie. So now we're getting a bunch of backstory for him, and that's why it's so good, because we're actually getting a fleshed out story for him.
Yeah, I would largely agree with that. Sorry, Christian, were you saying something? You kind of froze up there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that could be the case. Jordan saying is when they have
Christian,
hasn't watched.
Christian, you're freezing up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to move on until you can figure out your internet.
Oh no, that's lame.
We'll get on. He might not be on his phone internet. I've had this issue with him before. Anyways, yeah. So overall, sounds like Andor season 2 is good. I look forward to finishing season 1 and then moving on to season 2.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm super excited. It's cool to see that it started out lower and then increased. So I have high hopes for it, and what I've heard from people who've seen it so far say it's really good. So I'm excited.
Well, from my experience with season 1 of Andor, there's only one way out, and it's up. So Andor can only go up.
Yeah. Christian, do you want to try saying again?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
If my internet's crappy, just let me know. But as someone who hasn't seen it, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. So keep that in mind, grain of salt. I would prefer to watch it myself before I make any definitive statements, but I do want to echo some thoughts from within the fandom that aren't so keen on Andor. I've heard it described from some fans as Star Wars for people who don't like Star Wars, which is certainly an interesting take. I'm not going to elaborate on that much here and now. I'll kind of save that thought for when we actually get to reviewing the series ourselves. But interestingly, my wife, who isn't a big Star Wars fan, is
I took that personally for some reason. I don't know why. Felt like a dig.
Yeah. Maybe it's revealing something about you. But my wife, who isn't not historically been a very big Star Wars fan, is very much into Andor. So there might be merit to that. Again, I am not vouching for these statements. I'm just echoing what other people have said.
You're the messenger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people been like, oh, the slow burn thing is like lame and boring and not Star Wars. I've seen the criticisms too.
Not just strictly how the story is structured, but ideas from within the story. A lot of the adult themes in the stories. There is an argument. Again, I don't necessarily want to have this argument right now because I haven't seen it, but there is an argument to be made about a broader argument about Star Wars when it branches into things that are different. So one good example, I don't know if you remember back in like the 90s, they had that Goosebumps type series for Star Wars. It was like a horror young adult series.
I
Galaxy of Fear, I think it was called.
I do not remember that at all.
So my point with just bringing that up is that
review
Star
episode.
Certainly, I'd like to. But Star Wars is broad enough that you can tell all kinds of different stories. Rogue One, is one of my favorite Disney Star Wars products. So just speaking to that element of where they actually brought like a gritty battlefield realism to Star Wars. it's certainly like a lens you could put over the series where it doesn't have to be, the heroic space opera that is the main line series.
Yeah.
So like there's room to tell other stories within the galaxy. It is big enough. But there is also taking it too far where something kind of like we mentioned with the, what was that other series there that just came out?
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew, where it doesn't feel like Star Wars in some aspects, right?
So
weird. I think that's a fine line to
Feels
walk.
like Star Wars lipstick, but
right, exactly. Like it's almost wearing a fake mask of it. Again, I'm not making these statements about Andor. I'm just saying like there is a whole debate to be had around that whole topic about what is Star Wars thematically, what isn't Star Wars thematically, and
I will say I don't know if I totally. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm gonna have to like actually finish the whole season 1 and season 2 to really make a determination. I will say some of the themes and like storytelling, like the political intrigue and stuff, it does seem to be taking at least some inspiration, especially from the prequel trilogy. Like it's not the same story, but just actually going into the political intrigue is, I think, it is cool and something George Lucas tried to do. Some people didn't like that, but I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Again, elements can exist in both. But the question is how much of each, what's kind of like the recipe that makes something Star Wars or not Star Wars. Again, I'd almost like to save this whole discussion. Like this could be an hour and a half discussion all by itself. But I did want to just, pay lip service that those opinions are out there. And I will pick a side, I guess, after I actually watch it myself. Another interesting thought too I had was just art generally, and like, can art be good if you disagree with the messaging of that art as well? Which is another whole like kind of worms. Like maybe I disagree with the story's main virtue that it's promoting, but maybe the story is so well written that I enjoy it anyways. Or does that make it quality? I don't know. But again, that could be its own hour and a half discussion. But I do think it's somewhat relevant to Andor. But again, I'm withholding any definitive statements.
Yeah, for sure. Praxis again in the comment section says, Skeleton Crew was a generic coming of age story with a Star Wars nod. Yeah, I mean that was our that was kind of our sentiments exactly. We sort of did a semi review of the first episode in one of our recent live streams. Yeah, and kind of very similar sentiments. It just kind of, I don't know, it was kind of weird.
That does bring up that thing I'm saying though, like a good Star Wars coming of age story would be kind of like the New Jedi Order series, right? Or the Young Obi-Wan series. I forget what that was called. So it's coming of age stories can exist.
Tales of the Jedi, I think.
No,
that wasn't that one.
I don't think so. But yeah, there can be coming of age stories within Star Wars, but where's that line? What makes one not work so well, like Skeleton Crew, and one feel like it is Star Wars, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a big discussion.
Skeleton Crew just felt like it was basically just trying to
Stranger Things in Star Wars.
Stranger Things.
That's exactly it.
Just trying to be Stranger. It was just trying to affinity scam off of Stranger Things. So I that almost turned me off right away because it just felt kind of fake, But anyways, we can move on.
Sorry. Complete side note. A Quinlan Voss TV show would be absolutely sick. Sorry, I don't know why I had to get that in there, but I had to. That had to be known. Sorry, Jordan. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Do you want to kick off our next headline here?
Yeah. Okay. As everybody knows, the 20th anniversary re-release of Revenge of the Sith went live on the 25th of April. Interestingly enough, the re-release alone generated another 50 million worldwide. I remember that new films such as
first weekend, 50 million.
It was only open for 1 week. They only screened it in theaters for a week, and it did 50 million in a week.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that short. Okay.
Yeah, they just did it for 1 week for that. Yep. And with that, it pushed the film to a total movie haul of 900 million, so almost up to the billion mark. So just kind of generic question I had for you guys: did anybody watch it in theaters? Did anybody take the time to appreciate peak Hayden Christensen?
I mean, I saw it in theaters when it first came out. I didn't go to see the re-release. I
That
didn't
doesn't
want to
count,
sully
Pete.
my memory.
Well, then your money is included in that $900 million mark. So good job, TJ.
Yeah, I'm doing my part.
Revenge of the Sith. What's interesting though is, so this is kind of more so what I wanted to kind of get at with this was the fact that it looked like it had done better than like new movies that were in theaters currently that week for like there's a movie that was called Until Dawn and another one called Warfare, which they didn't even reach $50 million for that weekend. And a re-release of 20 years ago Star Wars, it sounds like people were just kind of thirsty to see Star Wars, just good Star Wars. So
Real
like
Star Wars.
Exactly. So I don't know, like
I
sleeping on.
I
Yeah,
took
go ahead.
this as a rebuke of both Disney Star Wars and a general rebuke of Hollywood, modern Hollywood today. Although I have heard good things about that Warfare film. It's on my
I actually want to
list.
see that. Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah. But that aside, the fact that in movies that same thing with video games too. Video game releases like Oblivion.
It's gonna blow everything out of the water.
Yeah,
right now, because everything is trash.
Exactly. I think it just speaks to, and actually this will come up in my next headline here when I'm talking, but it speaks to like an overall creative bankruptcy that all the arts seem to be suffering from broadly, and that despite what the media was trying to tell you that people are suffering from Star Wars fatigue, no, they're clearly not. It's not Star Wars fatigue. They're just sick of being handed slop and being told that it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
everything's turned into a slop factory, right? Like, especially with these big franchises. I mean, I think there's still a lot of great films that come out, but they're just like standalone. They're not like a big franchise. They're just standalone, greatly well-written movies. But yeah, I think the slop factory has just, churned out slop, and it's
people are getting sick of it.
Yeah, people are like kind of regurgitating it now and don't want to consume that anymore. So
yeah, and it did work. It worked for a while, right? The nostalgia baiting was really hot. The resurrection of tons of franchises we've seen in the last like 15 years of cinema.
Oh man, okay, when Spider-Man first came out with Tobey
Maguire.
Like that was amazing to see them be able to do like superheroes, like a live action superhero that well. Because up to that point, there had been a couple other attempts, but they were just like cheesy and did not work at all.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk show.
Yeah. Yeah, the only good one was like Blade. Blade came out before Spider-Man, but Blade, it's a little more. It's more just like an action film,
Yeah, it didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt like you. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like a vampire thriller.
Yeah, but like Spider-Man, it really took like I think it's Sam Raimi who did Spider-Man. Yeah. He really did like do the story justice and the depiction justice of what you would imagine a live action Spider-Man would be. And not like, yeah. And then from there, then obviously the technology had finally caught up and everyone started doing it. Right. And then,
a lot of people credit Batman. I forget which one, like the Michael Keaton era ones.
Yeah.
A lot of people credit them with doing superhero movies well, because it used to be almost like the curse of video game movies with superheroes too, where they just couldn't seem to nail the formula. Like, what's too campy, what's too cheesy, is it too serious, right? Just finding that right mix.
Well, I mean,
not
there had
realistic
been like successful superhero films like
Superman, yeah, it was huge.
Batman, but they never turned into those franchise, those like behemoths.
juggernauts.
Cult
Yeah.
classics.
Like it seems like the Spider-Man series really
Yeah.
kind of
Well, that's what I was
Right.
getting at. Is
Yeah.
a lot of people credit those Batmans as being when superheroes kind of kicked off
yeah.
in Hollywood. But to my memory, I 100% agree with you, Jordan, that it was a Sam Raimi Spider-Man, followed very closely after by the Nolan Batman movies.
Yes.
And then that spiraled into like the Marvel, DC,
Yeah.
and obviously
The
DC
f- the
lagged quite a
first-
bit, but they did have some hits. But
X-Men, the X-Men movie too. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first leg of the Marvel superhero movies, I thought was like I have fond memories of it. That all stuff came out when I was like still in high school. Like the first Captain America or even the first Avengers movie, like those were good. I thought like, it was a different but what's interesting is you compare that to the stuff that's coming out now, and the stuff that's coming out now it has become so formulaic because those movies were so successful that it's the same movie 15 times over.
Oh,
Right?
there
And
everything up to me, not there was some bad movies, even MCU movies back in the day, but everything up to like phase 3, there was like a lot of good movies up
Yeah,
to phase
yeah.
3. And then once like Endgame was over,
it's like, what do you do with all
and
these
then
characters that
the
yeah.
slop factory just started
took
churning
over? Yeah.
churning out the slop, and it was just like it's been terrible. So
Yeah.
and I have zero excitement to go watch any of these films. So
Bringing it back to Revenge of the Sith real quick though, did you guys have like, so for me, I intended to go actually and completely forgot about it until the week after, and I was like, oh, I should go to this, and then I saw it was out of theaters and I was super choked. But yeah, did anyone else catch it in theaters?
no,
No.
I didn't get around to it. Same thing. I kind of was like on my to-do list, and then I kind of like fell out of my mind, and then
Yeah.
but I watch it enough at home that I don't need to go to the theater necessarily to watch it again.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
second
Revenge of
that.
the Sith so many times.
When it was in theaters, I watched it multiple times the
Yeah.
first go around.
Where does it fall in your guys' rankings of Star Wars cinema?
Top
I
3 is
mostly
my
want to.
top 2.
Yeah, it's like my top 3 or 4.
Yeah, same. Top 2 for me.
4 for me. Like number 4. It's number 4.
Okay.
I might have it number 4 behind.
Can I hear your guys' rankings?
I might
Give
have
me,
it ahead.
give me
of
1 to 6 what your
Return
rankings
of
are.
the Jedi.
I think our very first episode we did.
Yeah, we did do
ranking of the
this.
Well,
movies.
let's do a re.
Well, you can do top 5. So I'll start Last Jedi, Force Awakens, and then I think that's it. Those are my top 5. Just those 2
Wait,
cinematic classics.
No, I didn't mean worst films, Jordan.
No.
I meant
What?
best
Oh.
ones. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, to me, like it's Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, and then probably Revenge of the Sith is like my 3rd favorite, and then probably Return of the Jedi after that.
I have a shameful list. It goes
Episode
it's
2.
yeah.
Episode 1.
No, for me it's Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, hot take. Because of the nostalgia. I recognize A New Hope is better and more important, but the nostalgia of Return of the Jedi, I thought the lightsaber fighting at that point was really cool when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So I have to be true to my former self.
Yeah.
TJ,
Yeah.
what's yours? Top 5?
For me, I go
Top 3.
Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, New Hope, and then Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Christian, do you want to pull up this article? Should we go dig into this?
Yeah. So kind of linking back to what we were saying earlier about the slop factory. So Industrial Light and Magic recently did a TED Talk. For those who are not familiar, Industrial Light and Magic was a sub-department of Lucasfilm that took care of all their special effects, even as far back as I think they were founded in the 76. So like the original trilogy, like they are responsible for pioneering so much with the special effects of Star Wars. and we kind of discussed this in the prequel movies as well. They kind of pioneered a lot of computer animation as well. So a lot of credit, a lot of veterancy in the film industry. However,
I think Jar Jar was actually the first fully CGI character in film history, and I'm pretty sure that was ILM.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't know that I can verify that.
I'm in like the 90th percentile. Let me fact check myself real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the Terminator, the T2.
metal fluid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel like
T2.
that came out first.
So not fully CGI character though. Like
Yeah,
so
It's true. He has a
Jar Jar's fully CG for the entirety of the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, look it up. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm checking it now.
But aside from that, their TED talk that came out recently was absolutely disheartening. What it amounted to was essentially using AI to combine a bunch of animals, like real life, like lions and I don't know, something blue, or like pandas and another animal. And they were just talking about like the pioneering of this technology and trying to give it like a Star Wars veneer, like this could be the future of Star Wars, and like these animals you could see coming out of the galaxy far, far away, right? Like just leaning very heavy, obviously, on their Star Wars background. But their presentation was absolutely horrific, but also reflects so much about where they are at as a company and creatively.
Yeah, like isn't there like a billion people on social media doing that already? Like,
yeah, like
why do we need
tools?
Light and Magic, the top tier of like graphic design, whatever, like, or special effects.
like the tools are using, like any Joe Blow could pick up and use. And then like the further creative bankruptcy of just combining existing animals was just so lazy. It just shocked people, and they're getting a lot of pushback right now about it. And of course, there's always a bigger AI debate where people are just already angry with AI generally. But that, putting that aside, like you have this pioneering company in the realm of like movie special effects and pushing the envelope, you know, back in the day using miniatures, advancing CGI tech. And then this is the best that they could come up with, is to just like digitally combine real world animals, slap together some cheap video footage of it, and then claim like this is going to be the future of Star Wars. It's so telling of where we're at.
Yeah, I'm sort of skimming through the article too.
So
yeah, I'm looking at some of the pictures. Yeah,
they took just animals and just mashed them together.
Yeah, like a snail and a peacock, or like a lion, a leopard, and something blue. It just has like blue fur. But it's very clearly like real existing, like a manatee and an octopus.
I see like 100 of these a day go through my social media feed, like from just
exactly.
Like, like what? Okay. Industrial Light and Magic is done. They are finished. And thank you, AI, for finishing them, for just showing us how useless they actually are now. So
yeah, and it just shows how lazy and like creatively bankrupt, like that is what they wanted to show off. That is what they wanted to say is the future of Star Wars. And I'm just like, that is appropriate. It's disappointing, but also very appropriate.
Sorry, coming back with the fact check. Jar Jar was the first motion cap CGI character.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still pretty crazy, considering that most films rely like 90, and video games even rely on mocap so much.
Yeah.
So again, pioneering technology, right? But,
yeah.
I guess like Lord of the Rings Gollum came out a little bit after that.
Yeah.
A couple of years after.
Yeah. Episode 1 was 99. The first CGI character was in like 1985 or something. But it was like a 30-second. It was like, but it was like
thinking about it.
But it was like a 30-second character. Like it wasn't like
sure.
Jar
but think
Jar
how
was
many
like
cheap TV shows had fully CGI characters that were really bad, but like from the 90s, right? Like,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Heck, even Power Rangers. The Power Rangers movie had those like CGI robots.
Were they CG?
The film?
Oh
yeah.
I don't remember that.
The movie. You got to watch Power Rangers the movie.
Yeah, no, I don't.
That's some 90s
amazing
CG right there.
I love it.
Well,
Are you
it's
talking
weird.
about the newer one?
No,
that
no,
just
no. Like
recently
the
came out, or the older
No.
one?
yeah, like
Yeah, there was a more
the-
recent one that came out.
No, the one that came out. I'm looking at the year.
Like the one with Ivan Ooze?
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, the good one. Gotcha. All right.
Well, good is a relative term, but yes.
That movie
You think-
made me want to get a motorcycle. Just so that's what made that happen. Is I saw Power Rangers on a bunch of Kawasaki Ninja motorcycles and was like, yes, that needs to be part of my future. And then I crashed it.
Both the bike and your future. So.
Yeah. Yeah, where does ILM go from there?
Yeah, who knows? How do they recover? I have no idea, but they're getting dumped on. Like that was not a good showing for sure.
Man, I am so excited to go back and watch that and then read the comment section for the next 20 minutes before bed. I am hyped about it.
Well, it's funny because in like recent years, people have made some beautiful looking just scenes from AI, just like film scenes using AI, and it's been very impressive. Just one person playing around. But then if you have like these multi-million, maybe perhaps billion-dollar studios doing the same thing, is it actually going to have the opposite effect where it actually looks super cheap and super
Yeah, like you expect
clanky?
more effort from a group like
Yeah.
that. Right? It's like
Yeah.
if they pulled up like Microsoft Paint image,
Yeah.
they like doodled and like this is the future. It's like no, thank you.
What if the intern in charge of it like totally screwed up and like didn't?
This is all they could
Yeah, like
slap
just literally
together.
30 minutes before the show.
They
was just
accidentally
like-
deleted everything, so
Yeah.
they're like, quick, whip up some AI images and just go with
Yeah.
it.
Have you guys seen I know I've seen them on TikTok. I don't know if there's been on YouTube or anything else, but there's been like some fan-made AI videos of scenes from some of the Star Wars novels that they've gone and turned into like an actual little clip.
yeah.
Cool.
They've taken scenes from Plagueis,
Yeah.
No way. That's
and
sweet.
very good, very good. And I'm like,
No.
that's what they should be doing more of that for some of these
Yeah.
movies and shows and stuff.
I mean, what are they going to do? And honestly, I think with the way things are going and the hyper pace at which AI is advancing, they're going to be able to make adaptations of entire novels pretty easily, and just fans are going to be able to do it. Like I wonder what's going to happen, and you can put it out for free, like you won't even sell it. It is like, how is Disney going to copyright that? Like, I don't know what they could possibly do.
Let's not give them ideas. 'Cause, that might be the next war front.
Yeah.
I think it will be sweet because not to get into a debate here, but I have some pretty hot takes on intellectual property and if it's even a real thing, which I would argue is not. But leaving that aside, I do like the sort of like Wild West frontier that it presents us in terms of creativity.
The
There's a really-
democratization of technology. Let's
Yeah.
say.
I
There's
give it a week, and Disney's going to come out with their own AI app, and for like $5.99 a month, you'll be able to get like 50 prompts.
Yeah, probably. But everything you use will be proprietary, so they own
Yeah,
it.
you can't. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
And then they'll just market it from
Yeah.
your creativity. Don't give them ideas. Stop talking.
There's a good YouTube channel called Corridor Crew, and they they created an AI like short film already.
Okay, yeah.
And this is like it's like a year or two old already, and it was like cool watching them do it back then and kind of go through the whole story. It's genuinely worth a watch, but it kind of they're already at that. But no, it's not just that they use that. They mocapped the AI show, so they're doing it in like their like small studio in LA.
Yeah.
It's like three dudes put together like basically like an anime style show, and it's a little
That's
janky.
awesome.
It's a little
Yeah.
janky. But in like 3 years,
Yeah, you could
AI
build
is
off
going to
of
be
that.
100%. Like the technology is already there to where like, and I think I'll have to go back and watch it, but I think they like used their phones even to do the mocap. So it's like not getting hard. So people will be able to tell stories from all kinds. And there'd be some really sweet, man. I'm really gonna check out that. I eat up those AI videos like crazy. I love watching all of those, like different countries' presidents as AI Greek gods or whatever. Like they are made for people like me, dude. I love those.
That is yeah, that to me is the Disneyfication of the mind.
I don't. I think
Countries
I've
as medieval knights.
I think I've mentioned. I think I've mentioned this before. But have you guys seen Star Trek Unification? It's like a fan film. Phenomenal. Everyone should check it out. It's just like a little, I think it's like 6 or 7 minutes, and it's made with AI, and it's they do these renderings of basically Captain Kirk and Spock, and there's no there's like there might have been one word in the whole thing, but it's mostly no dialogue. But it is just like super beautifully done, and it was like so popular that Paramount is gonna use it now as like their template for their next Star Trek film. So which is really interesting because it's like an entirely fan-made film, and rather than like fighting against kicking against the pricks, as it were, they're like sort of embracing this like AI thing, and like what fans are actually contributing to like the continued creation of the story. So I don't know if I don't see Disney doing anything like that or allowing it. They would just viciously go after anybody who tried to
Use their
budge in, who wasn't licensed by them, and budge in and try and make a cool Star Wars story. But if it got really popular, they would probably clamp down on them. But
Save that for your anytime you have Star Trek comments, Jordan. Save that for your Trek Lores podcast, please.
that is not happening.
No, that's super cool though. It's cool that Paramount is actually like taking that and
they're embracing
something. Embracing. That's super cool. I like that. I always thought about that, man. When I would see people put out like Star Wars fan films on YouTube, and I'd be like, man, why don't they like contract these people to help story write or to help, like it's such a lost potential of talent and people who's passionate about this stuff. But
I think Hollywood, there's like a lot of nepotism and stuff. So if you're not already connected,
it's a who you know network. So if you don't know people, you're not getting stuff done, and that's so sad.
So, yep, that's kind of the way she blows. Frankie, you want to do your hot take?
More on that, Christian?
No, I just thought it was relevant to share. And
I don't know if this is going to be
more than anything, it just reflects the state of things as well.
I
wanted to draw attention to. But
sorry, Frankie, you're a bit laggy there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Am I good now?
No, you're like really laggy.
Hello?
But give us your hot take anyways.
Yeah, give us your hot take.
It's probably better if I'm lagging out so that you can't hear it. Oh man, is it still bad?
Yeah, we're just waiting for you to go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Here, I'll give it anyway, I guess. Okay. I don't know if this is going to be a one-off segment or if this is going to be something that we return to, because I guess I have a lot of hot takes. But I've been saving this for a while until I realized that the review of Clone Wars was already done, and I missed that. And that's okay. So yes, Attack of the Clones. What did I say?
Clone Wars.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Attack of the Clones. Anyways, but I figured I wanted this opinion to be known out there before. Anyways, okay. My hot take is this. The line in Attack of the Clones I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere, by Anakin Skywalker is a great line, and it does so much for the character's development, both Anakin and Padme. It's a strong line, and I would like to fight you on it. Yeah. Do you want my reasonings now why it's good, or after?
I almost just want to boot you off the stream and move on. But you can go ahead and try to explain it to me.
All right. So I remember forever, like always going back and people crapping all over Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones has its mistakes for other reasons, and it has plenty of bad lines in it and bad delivery. All of that is true, 100%. But I think that line specifically is always kind of held up as the poster child for bad writing in Attack of the Clones, and that I would like to come to the defense of it, because I think it's a strong line when Anakin's talking about that. He is it's well, first of all, like going back to it, Anakin and Padme's sharing about her childhood in Naboo, in this luscious green beautiful place. Her childhood, it sounds, by all accounts of it, is like a pleasant childhood. She's kind of comes from a more privileged background, and talking about what a luxury it is to go and lay on the sand and sunbathe and all that. And to Anakin, um, all that sand represents, and I think this is how George actually means that line to work, is all that sand represents is pain and suffering. It reminds him of his childhood, which is the complete opposite of Padme's. Instead of growing up in a palace and playing with her friends, he's a slave working in Watto's workshop, and sandstorms, even, like everything about sand reminds him of his childhood, of slavery, of all of just hardship in general. So yeah, I think it does a lot to develop the character of Anakin, show the difference between Anakin and Padme, even. Yeah, fight me.
I think you're reading too much into that line. I don't see that. I think that's wishful thinking.
I'm gonna have to disagree with Jordan. Frankie actually mentioned this to me a while ago. I don't disagree. I think George is a deep enough storyteller that 100%, he could have intended that as like a contrasting moment that kind of goes over most people's heads as just a bad line, about the physical qualities of sand, and does actually reflect that deeper meaning and contrast between their upbringings. To me, that rings true, personally.
I think, well, like obviously he grew up on Tatooine and was like, yeah, didn't have a good time at Tatooine. So there is that connection to why he would not like sand, but I don't think it's any deeper than that. I don't think there's I just don't see a deeper meaning to just from where he's from, he learned to hate sand.
No, it's the deeper meaning of contrasting childhoods, contrasting experiences between them, right? Because again, in that moment, as Frankie mentioned, Padme is reminiscing about her childhood, more so than just laying on the beach. I think the subtext, again, I do trust that George is a good enough writer to make that deeper comparison. But obviously, this is just personal takes. I can't ask him directly if there was a deeper meaning to it. Also, there is a difference between execution or delivery and the lines themselves. Even if the subtext is supposed to be there, it could be a flaw in the writer who, the subtext didn't come through strong enough to make that comparison. Like maybe he could have reworded it or reworked that scene to draw more attention to it, if this is indeed the case. And also delivery, right? So the timing of the conversation, the actor's performance are also factors that could make an otherwise decent line come out as not as good. But I'm gonna agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I think the sin of that scene is not the I don't like sand part. It's the line after that when he says "not like you" and then rubs her back super creepily. I'd say that is probably the real sin in that scene,
It does a
Yeah.
disservice to the previous,
as opposed
scene, but-
to what I think sand is
Yeah, it
representing.
ends up coming off feeling
Exactly,
like
I do think it's a good
clumsy,
deep line.
yeah, like a clumsy pickup line.
Yes, Anakin the pickup artist. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I maybe would have to watch the scene again, and
that's
then and then come back to it, and maybe I could see that, but I don't know if I really see it. Maybe there's deeper deeper meaning there, but
He's so embarrassed he said it. He just offed himself on the stream. So
yeah, no, I did because he was super laggy. I told him to leave and come back. But I don't know, TJ, what do you think? Do you buy Frankie's argument, or do you think it's crock of sand?
I agree with Frankie and Christian to an extent. I feel like the line is sort of meant to represent the juxtaposition of their upbringings. Like Anakin had more of a rough and tumble childhood versus Padme had a much more grounded. Yeah,
Well, she had a very luxurious and
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't even say grounded. Grounded would be like a normal,
salt of the earth. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
definitely
high
the privilege of
society
a princess. Yeah.
yeah, it's okay, so I guess it's 3 against 1 now. All you guys buy this argument. But yeah, okay, well, I don't know. Let us guys in the listeners, you let us know what you think. Is there actually more to the I hate sand line than we are giving credit for? Let us know in the comments. Also, you can email us, starlordspodcast@gmail.com, and let us know and settle this debate once and for all. And everyone in the comments is also agreeing. Okay, I guess I'm just the only one who's not seeing this now. I guess you were very persuasive, Frankie. You've convinced everyone.
Nice vindication.
Now you got to tell George Lucas.
Yeah, vindication for Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts there, boyos? No, we good. Okay. I think we'll land this plane
Oh, I'm
there.
good.
Thanks for jumping in, everyone. TJ, thanks for coming in. Did you have anything you wanted to plug, like social media or anything like that, or you're good?
No, I think I'm good. Just for the listeners, just keep your ears open for the next ad. It'll be coming out. I don't know how soon, but there's more.
Oh yeah, there are more coming. Yeah, we got a lineup now. It won't be on the next episode, but the one after that, we'll definitely have some more ads from the Star Wars Don Draper himself. And with that, guys, make sure to check us out. We're on all the social medias: Instagram, x.com, Facebook, Star Wars Podcast. Go look it up. We're also in Discord. Join our Discord group. It's pretty fun. TJ's in there, so you can chat with him as well. Yeah, otherwise, if you want to become a patron for as little as $3 a month, you can jump in and become a patron and get access to all the bonus episodes and whatnot. So Star Wars Podcast at Patreon. Sorry, let me do that again. Patreon.com/Star Lores. Okay. Don't put anything else in because you get the wrong address. Anyways, with that, we'll see everyone later. Thanks for joining us.